For Sinopia, in fresco we mean the preparatory drawing that is performed on the layer before the painted one. Until the middle of 15th centuries, Italian fresco painters frequently painted the outlines for the main forms in their composition on arriccio, the sand finish, before applying the new intonaco section. So once the painting is finished, this sketch remains hidden behind a plaster layer. For instance, in the 13th and 14th centuries, it was common to use a very rough basic design. This preparatory sketch was done and studied directly on the arriccio with a piece of charcoal. But to do this, a fine cord soaked in red color, fastened at each end and pulled taut, was snapped against the wall so that it left a mark on the arriccio. Those guidelines and registers will allow the creation of a proportioned and well-balanced composition. Of course, the masters would have used small sketches on paper, but thanks to Cennino Cennini, we know that this Sinopia was precisely studied directly on the architectural wall and then fixed with this red earth Sinopia. Most pigments employed for these compositional guides had a red earthy color, called Sinopia. Sinopia was the name after the city it came from. Eventually, it became the name of this kind of underdrawing. Of course, the masters would have used small sketches on paper, but thanks to Cennino Cennini, we know that this Sinopia was precisely studied directly on the architectural wall and then fixed with this red earth Sinopia. At this point, the artist started his fresco by spreading the smooth intonaco on the arriccio. Only in the area he could paint and finish until the end of the day, and the buried drawing of Sinopia were rapidly retraced on the intonaco without the help of tracing. Later, the painters, instead, did not draw directly on the wall, but on large sheets of paper. The first small sketches on paper and colored in detail on sheets of thicker paper, cartoon, that were then applied on the wall to understand the final effect. Until the Renaissance, preliminary designs were merely sketched on the wall. Later, a new method became common. Designs were traced by pouncing. Tracing from the cartoon are made on heavy tracing paper. The trace lines are perforated at set intervals using a metal point like a nail. During the high season of Renaissance, in the case of large murals, the use of grid system or squaring became the practical way for enlarging a small drawing to a larger dimension. The drawing was divided in equal squares by horizontal and vertical lines. The same grid, but on much larger scale, was traced on a light postboard, and the designs were enlarged in each square.